Did you know that there's a lot of exotics in the game that have secret benefits but don't tell you? For example, did you know that Dragon Shadow gives you plus 50 mobility when you activate Wraith the Metal Mail with your dodge? That means you only really need 50 mobility to have 100 mobility most of the time, as the perk lasts 10 seconds and the dodge recharges in 15, meaning that you can use those points on something else. Also, did you know that Young Humkara's Spine exotic makes your Trip Mine Grenade have significantly more health? Most people stop shooting after a few shots thinking it's invulnerable, but it's just super strong. And finally, did you know that the always on time Sparrow from the exotic archive is actually slightly faster than every other Sparrow in the game? Even though you need 240 spoils to get it, it may be worth it if you Sparrow a bunch. You guys really liked the last one, so here we go again. These are 3 things you probably didn't know about Destiny 2. Number 1, Oathkeepers decreases draw time of bows by 30 milliseconds. And furthermore, the tooltip used to say it did this, but they removed the tooltip in Season of the Forge and kept the effect. But to be fair, that's 0.03 seconds, which is not likely to make a difference when it's 60 FPS, that's 2 frames. Number 2, aggressive frame shotguns increase their RPM with kills from 55 to 80 RPM, thus allowing for this slow fire rate weapon to tear it up against fodder enemies. But all other aggressive frames across other weapon types don't have this effect. Number 3, the detector mods on a Ghost have a limited range to them, like 50 meters, and that range can be extended by aiming your weapon, and higher zoom weapons increase the detection in all directions. So after finishing a Nightmare Containment, you can use this tip to find those extra chests faster. There are a lot of secret hidden features in Destiny 2 that you probably don't know about. Number 1, Young Umkara's Spine makes your Trip Mine Grenades deal no self damage and also deal 15% more damage in both PvP and PvE. And honestly, that's still not all the secret perks on this exotic. Number 2, you may know that Transversive, Stompies, and Dune Marchers are the go-to speed boots, but did you know that Lion Rampants are technically faster over the long run? As long as you use your lift as long as possible in straight lines, you will edge out over Dune Marchers. Number 3, people love using Izanagi's ×4 honed edge damage output for boss DPS phases. But did you know that the Paracausal shot ×7 on Hawkmoon does almost the same damage for the final shot? Even though you have to use 7 to 8 shots before it, that's 75% of Izzy damage in one shot from an infinite ammo primary weapon. Here's 3 more things you might not know about Destiny 2. Number 1, do you know when to use Major Spec, Vorpal, or even how to recognize these enemies? Let's go through it. Bosses have yellow health and a skull next to their health bar. Mini bosses or champions are yellow with no skull. Elites are orange bar. Rank and file are red bar. Boss spec is for bosses. Major spec is for mini bosses and elites. And minor spec is for red bars. Furthermore, Vorpal is for boss and mini boss, and Adept Big Ones is for boss, mini boss, and elites. Number 2, did you know that the Titan SMG exotic Peacekeepers gives you plus 5 FOV? This is thought to be a visual representation of a mobility scaler, but it still gives you better FOV, and it even allows you to go past the maximum. Number 3, did you know that Frenzy not only gives you 15% more damage, but also gives you 50 handling and 50 reload speed? And technically it's literally written that it does this, but I find too often that people are picking reload or handling options over Frenzy because they don't realize how much it gives. And in my opinion, Frenzy is just one of the best perks in the game. These are 3 things you might know, but they're important to know. Number 1, the exotic Warlock gloves known as Controverse Hold gives you a little less than half your grenade back on charged grenade hit. But did you know that you can guarantee almost a full grenade back? Since there's a 4-second cooldown for this effect, a charged Vortex grenade procs on the initial impact and the last hit of the Vortex, on top of Devour giving you even more energy back. Number 2, Zoom increases your range significantly. If you played other games, you might think it's more of a visual thing, but in Destiny 2 it literally defines metas by having a difference of 1 or 2 more zoom. That's why Multimac was so dominant in PvP before Witch Queen, and why Drang is so great now. Number 3, the Aeon exotic armors with the Sect of Inside exotic perk can create a small heavy or special ammo box with a finisher on champions and majors respectively. And given that there's maybe 30 champions in a Grandmaster Nightfall and that the game is balanced around very limited heavy ammo, it really makes a big difference. Here are 3 more fun things to know in Destiny 2. Number 1, your Sparrow can fly. By releasing the roll and using the sideways boost, you can start traveling upwards on a Sparrow. And after using all of your boost, you hop off, spawn a new one, and do it again. And angling this boost can also get you going in a direction and even orbiting the planet. And the always on time Sparrow has the most boost to use. Number 2, the full auto trigger system perk increases the RPM of shotguns by 10%. And it used to be that any weapon with this perk or even rapid fire frames would have a significant increase to the RPM above the written value. And shotguns used to get double the RPM from this perk, so the 10% nowadays it's much more fair. Number 3, sword heavy attacks are strongest when used with exactly full sword energy. This is represented in the bottom left as your melee ability and is used up in this attack. And you can also use this energy to block, which you can accidentally use to cannibalize this powerful heavy attack. And if you guys have some more fun things for a future video, let me know and I'll feature your comment in that video. Here are 3 things that many of you don't know about Destiny 2. Number 1, how to play. That's right, I see you motherfuckers. walking straight past the control points in Iron Banner. You do realize that objective-based game modes have objectives, right? Number 2, running straight at 10 enemies is a bad idea. I realize you can get away with it in strikes, but when we're playing Nightfalls and we wipe because you used all of our revives, I'm gonna be mad. Number 3, not listening to me when I tell you how to do a raid encounter. For the love of everything good, if you didn't understand or pay attention to what I just told you, please ask for more info. Don't just say, yep, I got it, and fail to do your job and say nothing when we ask who didn't do their job. Obviously this is meant to be a joke, but I hope you guys enjoy. Here are 3 things you may not realize about Destiny 2. Number 1, dismantling gear with a shader applied to it will have a chance to unlock that shader and a higher chance with legendary shaders. And this applies to drop loot as well, which can drop with shaders already attached. Number 2, the Solar Titan exotic known as Hellfire Heart improves your grenade and melee recharge rate by charging twice as fast. And when you have a supercharge, they charge 4 times as fast. And that's not even considering sunspots, armor mods, and class fragments. However, is it worth it compared to Lorelei? I don't know. Number 3, many people don't realize, but the weapon perk known as Field Prep not only increases reserve ammo for that weapon, which is very popular for heavy and special weapons, but also improves your reload speed while crouched, which goes hand in hand with outputting maximum DPS in case you don't have a Lunafaction well or Rally Barricade for it. Here are 3 cool things you may not know about Destiny 2. Number 1, using the Athers's Embrace Hunter exotic with the 1-2 punch melee damage bonus, you can get your weighted knife to do over 300,000 damage to Carl, a mini-bot, and almost double that on bosses. For comparison, rockets do about 70,000 damage to Carl, and that's not even considering other bonuses from potential artifact mods.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Number 2, many cosmetic items that go to your inventory can be removed for space and still be unlocked. As long as it says unlock for the removal option, you can safely discard it. Things like ornaments and ghost projections. Number 3, resilience is now one of, if not the best stat to focus in the game for both PvE and PvP. And many people do know that it gives you slightly increased health and huge damage resistance in PvE, but a lot of people neglect to notice that it also gives you flinch resistance and gun stability, making it great for PvP as well. Here are 3 things you don't know about Destiny 2. Number 1, the Glacier Grenade's stasis crystal damage doesn't always count as grenade damage. So something like Heart of Immortal Light will not increase its grenade damage through its exotic perk, but will still decrease the grenade's cooldown. Number 2, the Fundamentals perk found on Hardlight and Borealis allows you to switch between the 3 main energy types by holding down the reload button, but it was recently updated to also improve the gun's stats in various ways, which gives it a point in Crucible. Number 3, a lot more enemies count as vehicles than you think, which is good for things that deal more damage to them like Hake breach armaments and Vorpal weapon. Things like Cyclops, Oracle, Shriekers, turrets, tanks, pikes, dropships, Taken Blights, and walkers to name a few. And on top of these vehicles, Hake breach armaments also increase damage to stasis crystals, Word of Dawn bubbles, Well of Radiant swords, and Titan barricades. And a big shout out to Court who made this comprehensive guide to vehicles.